Hello, and welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour, the weekly bridge to the future of the piano tech community. I'm David Andersen.
And I'm Ethan Janney. And we're here to ask great questions, and then we'll shut up and listen to some of the authorities, experts, and most outstanding personalities in our little world of pianos.
So, put on your best set of headphones, and let's get started.
Welcome, friends. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Give a quick introduction. Piano Tech Radio Hour is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, an online educational resource that offers cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can find out more at www.pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. We are ringing in the new year with this community that is rising from the ashes of 2020 itself, and we had our first online piano tech convention just a couple weeks ago. That was really fun, really a great success, and I don't know that I've shared it publicly yet, but we're working on the next convention. Might as well do it again, especially for those of you that were so busy in the holiday season that you couldn't make it. And in fact, Wayne Ferguson, our radio hour guest for today, is going to be one of the instructors on that March convention.
Yeah.
And I believe the dates are going to be 18th to the 20th. That should be a Thursday to Saturday. I'll check back in with the official date in case that's wrong, but I believe that those are going to be the dates. And Wayne was referred to me by a few folks as a really wonderful technician up there in Canada. Well recognized for knowing what he's talking about, has studied with the Little Red Schoolhouse, and has been recognized as one of the best technicians in Canada. So I'll hand it over to David. I think David might like to say a little bit as an introduction as well.
30 seconds more.
Yeah.
I met Wayne at a National Piano Technicians Guild conference, and we just hit it off. He came to one of my classes and apparently got some value out of it. And I think he's one of the best piano technicians around. He's kind of, I don't know if they say this anymore, but we used to say it. He's the guy in Toronto. Tunes a symphony, tunes virtually all the major artists that live there and record from there now. He's very intuition focused, kind of feeling focused, very practical, highly skilled piano technician. His work is incredibly excellent. And he's also really practical. So feel free to ask him specific technical questions about how to do stuff, because he's fabulous at it. All right. Mr. Ferguson.
Any words up front you want to say to introduce yourself, Wayne? And I'll make sure that you are unmuted. Let's hope Wayne had some technical difficulties with his computer earlier on. He's joining us via, he's muted right now. So let me make sure he's unmuted. You should be able to unmute yourself at any point, Wayne. And he is listed over here as Miriam, but I will change his name. Wayne Ferguson.
Yeah, please change it.
There you go.
You're with us. Awesome.
It's not Wayne Ferguson. It's not Wayne Ferguson.
Oh, did I rename the wrong person? What's going on?
Yeah, that's not Wayne Ferguson.
That's not Wayne Ferguson.
No,
Who's that?
It's
not Wayne Ferguson.
No.
Okay, I'm lost here. Okay, so there was somebody named
All right,
Miriam.
we can hear.
That's Miriam is this guy, but it's not Wayne Ferguson.
Okay.
It's Wayne Stroutman.
Wayne Stroutman.
Hey, Wayne.
First name's the same.
So is Wayne Ferguson not here?
I don't see him.
Okay.
Jesus.
All right.
This
All
All
right,
right.
let's see what's going on.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah, let's just roll with it, I
Um,
guess. Okay.
yeah. Let's talk about the balance of working throughout a time when you're essentially supposed to be with your family. Um, I don't know if you humans work right up to Christmas, then work in the week between Christmas and New Year's. Can you raise your hand if you either do that or have done that consistently in the past? Yes? No? Yes? So, does that mean most of you are sane and just take certain, like between the two holidays off, between Christmas and New Year's off? That's what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting, and I suggest in every class I've ever taught, that you get off the grid, that's really super important for any kind of skilled craftsperson, to just take time and just relax. Don't have a purpose for living at that moment except, wow, I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm reading a book or listening to music or watching TV or having a conversation. I'm living right now in this moment here. And I'm not thinking about work, and I'm not thinking about this, and I'm not thinking about that. I'm right here. I'm enjoying being alive. And that's really important. And now they've made a multi-billion-dollar industry out of, hey, let's feel good. It's so simple. You don't need to buy anything to feel good. You just need to feel the gratitude that's in you all the time, or more of the time than you feel cranky and isolated and embittered. Let's say. And this is a really good time to look at that and ask yourself, well, how am I doing day to day? How's my atmosphere inside? Am I good? Am I grateful? Am I happy, healthy, and holy, as they say, as the Sikhs say? How am I doing on a daily basis? And the answer, especially for us who can be so lucky as to do something we love and get paid for it, and in some situations, basically chart our own path and write our own ticket in our craft, it's real important to feel the gratitude for being allowed to do that. There's a lot of people in this world that don't have that opportunity. Ethan, you want to? This is kind of like a holiday reflection for me. That's where I've been. Ethan, you got anything you want to say about that?
Well, we were just talking beforehand
Yeah.
about how you had an interesting experience. Your daughter was going to buy you something for the holidays, and it was difficult for her to find. And she told the story, of kind of with gratitude to the person who's going to sell her this kind of just like a pullover, to keep you warm. But it was a nice one and not cheap. And she found it, and she asked the fellow to, if she could get it. And he definitely gave her a discount when he heard of your story, that you had cancer and you just got through it, and all of this. And on second thought, he gave it to her for free, and I think this was I think he said like a $200 kind of a nice fleece for the cold. And
Yeah, Patagonia.
we talked about how you got to make a living. Of course, we have, and there's nothing wrong with making money, but that's not what any of us is really on the planet to do. That's just a means of exchange. And that's kind of what it is about, is having interactions with people that you feel are meaningful, or, even just having interactions with the world, with nature and the things that you find valuable, just appreciating them and enjoying them. And that's what life is about. So, I think what you and I maybe have found interesting is that when you can focus on those things, that gives you more presence and maybe make it a little bit easier for the financial things to figure themselves out, if you, and the sort of the things that you might generally be concerned about, am I doing a good job? Am I getting better? Am I professional enough? Do I know what I'm doing? That kind of stuff figures itself out when you're focused on the things that matter. So I would just echo what you're saying. And it's becoming very clear to me I would say this just to go a slightly different topic, back to piano tech. With the convention, we talked a lot about voicing. We talked a lot about sort of custom things with pianos, and we talked to Steingraber. And I think that it is becoming clearer too that in our industry, that custom level of understanding is really what the industry is. There are going to be people out there who are going to take a quick course and try to be a piano technician, and they're probably going to come and go. But the people that are here to stay are the ones that are, diving very deep into how to make the piano sound great and beyond actually tuning it, as a matter of fact.
Yep. Hey, Ethan, can you unmute individual specific human beings?
Yes. Who are you interested in?
Awesome. Well, I'm interested in just asking some of these wonderful human beings that I both know and know of that are here, their take on Hollywood, not Hollywood, the holiday and work and where they live as far as their work. I just think it's a good time to look back and see what happened this year, how your year was, and what you're looking forward to. That's what I'd love to hear. How your year was regarding your own state of being, and your work, and what you're looking forward to. And
I'm also I'm unmuting two folks who are listed as iPhones because they may be Wayne. If you're there, you should be able to unmute yourself. And Wayne Ferguson, not just Wayne. Should be able to unmute yourself.
You got me now?
oh,
Is this the Wayne Ferguson?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Okay, he was down in a cave and he suddenly popped up.
I've been watching the whole time. Can you see me?
Yeah.
We can see, you've been watching wait a second.
Yeah.
Just a second here. Okay. The whole time? Come on.
Yay.
Yeah, I've been listening and I'm waving and yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, long story short, so you heard our introduction of you.
I missed
Wayne
that part.
was on his computer and he looked fine to us, but he started having glitches, and so apparently you had to switch to your iPhone, and that seems to be working okay now. So that's good.
Yeah.
And I'll rename your iPhone so that's you.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say we can cut the whatever we were doing because we want to talk to you since you're here.
We want to talk to Wayne. Exactly.
We want to talk to Wayne. Yeah.
Okay. I'm very happy to join in. This is exciting. How many are there on here?
Oh, lots.
On the Zoom call, it says there's 65, and then there's probably a few people viewing on Facebook and YouTube right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe 100 people total.
Wow.
We usually get between 50 and 100 people checking it out.
Yep.
Very good. Okay. So
a lot of great technicians on this, a lot of dedicated people.
well, I'm so happy to be asked. I've known David for a long time, And I just want to start off I'm excited to be here and share some stuff. I hope that I can talk about how I make my money. I'm not telling you guys how you should make your money. You guys have to figure that out. But I started a long time ago, and I tried many things, and I just had to figure out, how is it going to work for me, right? And basically, when I started, I decided I was going to work out of a home. So when I first got my first shop, it was a small shop, and then on to the second and third and the fourth house. It just kind of evolved from there. I kind of decided I didn't want to go the route of having a shop where I had to go to every day, spending money on rent. And I didn't want to do a store. I figured I could make referrals and generate maybe commissions on sales or work from that sort of thing. So how I figure it out is what I do is, like, I guess all of you, we all make money in different ways. And whether it's just basically tuning for standard tunings or universities or, in, institutional type of work like universities, or, there's this whole wide range of things. Or what do you want to do, a rebuilding or whatever. So I designed my whole business around working out of my home, right? Having a shop. I work out of a 2-car garage shop. My shop is 20 feet by 20 feet square. It has everything in here that I need. There's a small piano I'm working on now. This is sort of my center of my shop work, everything I do. I had, when I first moved into the shop, I decided I was going to take care of a lot of storage. So this shop didn't just happen overnight. This took years for it to evolve. And I've made a lot of money from this shop. I can refinish panels in here if I want. I used to do it, but not anymore. I have complete dust collection system. I have fest tools all over the place. I invested in, dust collection, shop organizing. If my wife sees those guitar cases, don't tell her there's guitars in them, because I figured out how to get more guitars. I just buy more guitars. I put them in the empty cases. So anyway, that's a secret. And so we'll be speaking with my wife later.
Quick question, Wayne. You do work on guitars, or you just collect them to play them?
I build guitars as a hobby. So there's 2 guitars on the bench there. Those 2 guitars I've made in the last few years.
Very cool.
It's just something that I do for a hobby. I don't make money at it, but I would like to do it full time. So anyway, the guitar on on your right took me 1 year to build, and the one on the left took 5 weeks to build. I decided to see if I could build guitar every day nonstop, so that take 5 weeks. So I do the type of work I do is pretty much mostly professional tunings for all the big venues in Toronto. I also do piano rentals, where I have about 7 pianos I rent out. I have a CF3S, 2 C7s, Steinway B. I have a white piano, which is the Kawai 5'7". I have various upright pianos that are placed in some recording studios that I've sold pianos to. And I have them there with an agreement that if I ever need a piano for rental, I can go in and grab it out of Studio B or Studio C or whatever. So it's kind of, it gives them an opportunity to have a piano and gives me a place to store them. Plus, those pianos are downtown, right? So, so it's just another means of making money. I will show you downstairs I have a showroom, which is a walkout basement.
Can I interrupt you and ask you a question about that? So you said, explain it again. You have pianos with folks, and then there's a contingency basis where you can bring it out of their location and use them as rentals, right? Is that what you said?
That's right.
And the people that you are that you're doing with, I'm sorry, I was having to send a message to somebody, so I missed it. These are venues or something, or what's going on with those pianos?
Those are recording studios.
Recording studios.
The recording studios, I've sold them pianos, or I take care of pianos for them. But what I've done is, because they don't have pianos in all of the rooms, I've offered up. I said, if you guys are interested, I could place a piano. You would have it to use for any clients that come in, on the agreement that if I ever need a piano for rental, the movers would come in and take the piano out for 1 or 2 shows and then deliver it back. So
it's free. You're kind of using it like a free storage facility.
Free storage facility, yes.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. It's an idea I came up with a few years ago when I just had too many pianos. And I kind of thought, I want to give it a try. Right.
Are these folks that you knew well already? Did you already have a conversation? The reason I'm asking is because I know, but I've been in New York City. New York City is a big, complicated city with all kinds of stuff going on, and I've noticed that, sometimes it's actually hard to set up agreements like that, especially in a big city. Maybe it's easier when you're in a small town or something like that. But maybe people will avoid something that feels too complicated or something like that. So I'm just curious about your initial setup of those relationships. Are there people that you knew for a while, or if they were willing to go for it, they didn't get focused on the thing where they might miss their piano all of a sudden? Just curious.
Well, it's a long time relationship, right? So I've been tuning for these studios for years, many, many years. And some of them up to like almost 38 years. One of them is like 40 years I've been tuning for. So yeah, it's just a relationship that has been a long time relationship. I've bent over backwards trying to make them happy with the tunings for their clients that come in. Sometimes they don't have a budget, for touch-up tunings, so I will come there several times through the session to do touch-ups. I tell them I'm in the area, I'll come back. So it's kind of there's a very good relationship.
Right. They know that they can work with you and trust that everything's going to work out. And then somebody said in the chat here a question, which is sort of on the other side of things, and I'm assuming it's sort of a similar answer, but they said, don't you find that they get a lot of wear that way? And, are you kind of okay with the wear that they get, or do you see that they don't get that much wear?
Well, I'm okay with that, but they really don't get that much wear. So it's the small rooms in the studios, like what's called Studio B, C, or D, what studio is in, they're sort of just there in case a client decides to want it. Sometimes they're using the piano without having it tuned. But it's just every now and then I get a call. They want the Yamaha tuned in Studio 3, and I go and tune it, right? So it's it's like sort of a give and take, I guess. But and there's been some cases where I've had those pianos available for sale, and I have clients that wanted to buy them. I developed sales out of those studios on a couple occasions. So, there is it's a long process, but a long relationship with these clients.
Hey, Wayne.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Wayne, it's David. Can you talk about your evolution as a piano tuner and a piano technician, and how you learned how to do super intuitive, super high-end work on pianos so that all these killer musicians in Toronto just love your work. Talk about that. Why your work is better than that, is so good and satisfies people so
Tell us
deeply.
why you're so amazing.
Well,
I would say, I'll say one more thing after that. I will say, it almost seemed like maybe you had a plan for what you wanted to talk about too. So if you had other things you want to talk about, you're welcome to not let us sidetrack you. But that's a great question from David as well. So
Okay, well, I'll just start by the point that it's so important to have music in school, so we have to be advocates of that. We really have to. I started playing guitar when I was 11. I was labeled a slow learner, so they sent me off to a vocational school where I learned all the shops. I learned how to be an electrician, carpentry, metalworking, all the shops, you name it. But they happen to have music there also. So I was taking music on top of that, learning to play saxophone, taking guitar on my own. This was 1964. I was a big fan of the Beach Boys, playing guitar, and then I went to a school that there was a music store right around the corner, and I went in there one day and asked them I was looking for work after school, and they gave me a job when I was 15 years old, and I would work there every day after school, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I would work late on Friday night and all day Saturday, and I was making so much money that
wow.
my mom wanted room and board. So I paid my mom room and board, and did that for all the time I was going to high school, for 4 years. And as that evolved, in that music store, I think it was 1968 or 69, the first Yamaha store opened up next door. It was called Lloyd Edwards Music, and they were a Yamaha dealer. And I met all the salesmen from Yamaha coming in, because that's when they started selling Yamaha product in Canada. Got to know the owners next door, and I showed an interest in pianos. But I didn't learn tuning. I was doing guitar repair. I was doing all the store work. From there, I got tired of working within the store and started working on joining road crews. So I started traveling with different bands. I traveled with Supertramp when they broke out into America. Traveled all around with them. We carried our own piano. I met most of the tuners that came into on those shows, right? And after that,
this was in the 70s.
That would be that was going into 76, I think. Into this 76, 77, right?
And so, you still hadn't learned how to tune pianos?
No, I did not learn them. No, I did not learn anything about pianos until the 80s, right? So,
wow.
Yeah, so it just evolved. But what happened with the music business, because I worked at the music store, I was going to all these NAMM shows. So I would go to Chicago NAMM. I went to Atlanta many times, Los Angeles, to these shows before I was a tuner. So I was totally immersed within the business back then. Met all kinds of famous guitar players back then, like Chet Atkins and Les Paul and, all these guys. But anyway, what happened with my work, I was touring with, after Supertramp, I was working for the band, a guy named Gino Vanelli. And I had an accident when I was stepping off a truck, and I broke my back. And I was off work for 2 years. So what happened, off work, I had surgery in my back, rehab, and 2 years off work. And then finally getting back to into doing something. It just so happened workers' compensation I was involved with. And they said, because your injury was so severe, we can train you. Is there something you want to do? Go look at what courses are available at the colleges. So George Brown College had a course that they were teaching. They just opened up, and Ted Samble was the teacher at George.
Wow.
George. So that's how I got into the piano stuff. I started right there on the very first years they started. A two-year program.
And Ethan, do you know who Ted Sambell was?
No, I do not. Tell me.
Wayne.
Ted Samble was this genius, fine English gentleman that was in the emergency fire brigade when they were being blitzed in England in World War II. He had a long history of piano technology education going back to the 30s and 40s. He was a master craftsman, beyond belief, his knowledge of he had. So patient and kind. And he's a real legend, this guy. He passed away a few years ago. But
he worked for Glenn Gould. He worked for so many awesome artists. He was the greatest honor I ever got was when Ted Sambell came to a class of mine and said my tuning was amazingly musical. He said that was it for me, man.
Yeah. So within the first year program, I joined PTG immediately, and I found my first letter when I joined. I think it was 1984, and I started tuning right away. It took me a long time to get into the swing of it, but I started and continued to look for the answers. I just had it in my blood that I had to learn as much as possible, and I'm still learning now. It just hasn't stopped.
Are you still a slow learner?
Yeah. I learned differently, right? Yeah. When I went to Japan in 88, I went to the Piano Technical Academy. I went there for their complete course, but I also stayed for some additional training. So I lived and worked there for 3 months. And I met a couple of technicians, and they took me under their wing, and we would go and help them. We would get in the car, they would drop me off someplace, and then they would say, okay, you have to get on the subway here, meet us back there at 6 o'clock, or whatever. So I would go out and do 2 or 3 tunings. And they were, they were giving me a little bit of money, right? So I was working for them. And so it was just a continuation of wanting to learn and continue. There was always something out there I needed to find the answers for.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm guessing that this is the case. That just sort of like a tongue-in-cheek question is just that sometimes it's about being passionate about what you're learning about or having a certain connection with it, right? Sometimes the people that I find some of the people that didn't work out as well with the traditional education systems are actually the ones who are the most passionate about learning in the end, right? It's kind of a weird pattern that sometimes you see.
Well, what it was is...
It depends on the character.
What it was, I just tell you, when I was 8 years old, I fell downstairs and I had a brain injury. And that's what happened. Something happened then. So it was, so I just have a different way of learning, right? So usually I have things I have to have written out, and I learned from memory from what I'm seeing by these lists of things. I kind of have to categorize. It's just I definitely have, attention deficit disorders. I got to be totally organized. It's one of those things where there's, I have this sort of intense desire just to continue learning more and trying to be organized. And so I don't know if that answers your questions.
So what feeling does that bring you to be at the edge of the sword and to be organized? What feeling does that catalyze inside of you?
I think what that does, it gives me, I feel somewhat, it makes me calm and feel like I'm ready to perform for the next job or client, whatever it is. I feel I guess it's sort of, I feel this sort of a comfort, or I feel this confidence. It's the main thing.
Yes.
Confidence.
Yep. Yeah, I've taken a lot of nutrition internally, spiritually, emotionally, from being able to make a piano sing, for being able to work at a fairly high level on a piano. It's tremendously satisfying, to your soul in a way, to amount of focus or amount of attention. Don't you agree?
Absolutely, yes. For me, it's like I feel bad for the pianists, people who own pianos. They can't tune them. Guitar players can tune their own guitars. Most musicians can take their own instruments. The poor piano player, they have this neuroses that if they go into a club or someplace, they don't know what they're going to be presented with. And I like to have the piano ready in a way that they feel like I hope that I could try to inspire them to play piano and not have any issues, right? I just want them to sit down and go, I knew I could play that. Well, listen to that. I just want to be able to inspire them to write or play music, or, because we need the music. We that's what we get back from all of our work. We get this gift back to us.
So when did you and how did you start learning all the nuances of both tuning and regulation and voicing? When did that really start to come? At the Yamaha 3 months in Japan, was that a huge explosion of knowledge and skill on your part?
Well, the first one way before that was Busendorfer, because I started working for a Busendorfer dealer in '86, and I was the first technician from Canada to go to the Busendorfer factory. I went there for about 2 weeks, and I went there and learned their sort of routine, what they do through regulation voicing. Went there every day, got to know them. There is a technician that a guy named George, what's his name? I can't remember his name now. Anyway, there's a couple of technicians that I met that were trying to show me as much as they could, because I just said, I'm just new, I'm just trying to learn. And so it was the arrangement through the dealer. He liked me because I was pro sales, right? That's where I got his attention. I could generate a sale for him. He was pretty happy about that. So he paid attention to me, and I really didn't care about commission at the time. So that was the first factory that I went to. I've been there 3 times since then. But I did go to Frankfurt, Germany, Messe trade show. I can't remember what year it was. While I was there, I took an extra 2 weeks off and I traveled to, I think 12 factories in Germany. And after that, there's been other places. For instance, when I was in Italy, met technicians there. I never end up going to Fazioli. It didn't work out. But I would kind of go on these holidays trips, but I would try to find tuners in the business and just share and just learn. So that's how my recent journey took me over to China. I was there for 6 weeks. I went to the Music China trade show. I had investors that paid me to go with them, and I was doing work for them. And so that when that part was over, then I continued to do some more traveling. And that was a real eye-opener. That was really something else. And I guess what happened every time I was going to either a new trade show or to a new convention or meeting new technicians, I thought, well, this is not going to stop. You know, it's just continuing to share and learn and try to find that magic in what we do. You know, just trying to continue.
Practical magic, because it reflects in the instruments. It's amazing. Our craft is amazing, actually.
Yeah.
When did you do that trip to China? Was that in 2019 or what was going on there?
17, I think it was 17, 18, 19, 20, 2017.
And did you have like sort of an assignment? Were you reviewing certain instruments or giving your opinion on something specific, or is it some proprietary information? I don't know.
I was working for, I was helping my investors who were involved with David Steinmuller, and we were going there to talk them into making pianos of the small keyboards, the 5.5, the DS standard. And we went there to work the deal out, just have it all sort of happen. It took a long time for that to come to light. And my clients are investors, and they're involved with David on helping bring this forward. So I don't know if you know that David Steinmuller now has High-Loon pianos with the 5.5 keyboards in them that are available for sale.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, out of Titusville. And so if you notice that some of the pianos, you see that there's gold blocks on the ends of some of the product you see. That was my branding. I told him he needed to have some sort of branding. I said, if you go to a piano and you're just going to see little keys, well, they're just going to say, oh, there's a piano with little keys, right? So what you had to do is the key blocks had to be gold. So I still have the spray paint up there, and I sprayed them, and I took them to David, and I put them on one of the projects. And there you go. There's your new project. So that's what he's doing now. So he calls it
it's the full 88 keys, but they're of a smaller dimension.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. The keyboard is 5.5 or a 6.0 keyboard. So,
and the target for that is like children learning, or just to have a sort of a different option for an instrument, or?
There's a lot of people out there that have difficulty playing piano. So the latest guy that has the keyboard is, I can't remember his name right now. I can send a link later to you, but he's from Norway. He's quite an advanced jazz player, has some sort of disability with his hand size, and he can't play a full octave. So he is now has this, and it's working great. What I did is I taught David that if he's focused on making the actions strictly for Yamaha pianos, the Yamaha is very precise. So when David finished making that action, he sent it over to Norway. It fit in perfectly into the piano. The technician there just had to go through and do some regulation, and the piano sounded better than their piano because we're using on some pianos Renner Blue Point, or we're using Obel, right? So so I can send you a link of that guy. But this keyboard is for people. A lot of women, as they're learning piano at a young age, they're getting older, and then their hands don't grow, and they get to a point where they can't end up going into university or professional playing because they're have a disability of their small hand size. So it's sort of it's a very custom market, but it's available now.
I have a question for you moving forward. And by the way, folks, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat as well. And
there's a lot of
there's
stuff
two
in
questions.
The chat, Rudy.
Yeah. Let me jump into those before I ask what I was going to ask. Let's see here. Is this one relevant? Brenda Meng said, Wayne, could you talk a little bit about that action behind you and let us know some of your process? No, there isn't much time left. And definitely was a specific question. What is stuffed in the action behind you?
Okay, so what happened years ago, I decided I was going to go visit Rish, a Cunningham Piano Company. And while I was down there on my own accord, trying to work out something with him, that's when I think I met David down there. David was down there, and we met. Anyway, so since then, I was doing stuff.
Tell us, David, who just said
David
Andersen?
David Andersen, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, I got involved with David Stanwood. He called me and he said that he wanted to install a what they call the Salas system, the David Stanwood adjustable lever action. He wanted to install that in Busendorfer at Cunningham Piano. So the second time I went down to, or the third time, David asked me to join him, and we went down for a week. He paid me for my time, and he was installing this in the piano. So what I did is I helped David have a finished product.
Which piano was that?
That was a Busendorfer. That was a 9-foot Busendorfer at Cunningham Piano.
In Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the first ones.
Yeah, it was the very first one. But what happened, we went down there, within 5 minutes, they had just rebuilt the piano completely. And within 5 minutes, I realized there's a technical error. And the technician, he made a mistake. It wasn't his fault. He just, had a brain fart, and he bored the hammers off by, I think, 4 millimeters. Because he wasn't able, he was trying to not be able to achieve let off and drop. And so I had to figure out how to be really diplomatic about this, because I said to David, I says, we're installing this in your piano, or in this Busendorfer, but the piano has to be technically correct before your product goes in the piano. If it's not proper, you can't install it.
Forget it.
Because it's going to just come back and haunt you. So this here, this is what it looks like on the inside.
Yep.
Right? And
Wayne, you know that I was involved with the Sala.
Yes.
Right after that, I got involved with it. It's an amazing. I installed half a dozen, and people loved it.
Yeah. So this dial moves this here, right? These tabs.
Yep.
And I'm going to move it all the way forward and back. So you can see those tabs are going behind the center pin.
Yep.
There's a little dial here. Little dial here. Where is it? Sorry, my gimbal is. Little dial right there.
Yep.
You see that little needle? What I used was fluorescent glowing paint on there. So it
Yep.
moves about.
It's amazing. It changes the balance weight from.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. Yeah, it changes it
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Like
about
from
10
36
grams.
to 40 or 41.
Yeah.
It-
Now I use this. This is one of my rental pianos. So like, Stevie Wonder's played this. He
Wow.
knows about this system. David Foster, Alicia Keys. So when a piano goes on rental, I take the front lip off and I ask them if they want it heavier or lighter. And I go through that adjustment and they're surprised. And, but to me, it gives me an option for experimenting because I use this as sort of so my idea was, David, was to make these plaques have this edge black.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's got to have a finished product and
That's
look
much.
good, right?
That's much. That's much. Yes, but he didn't continue that. Unfortunately, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I just felt that it was important to try to have a finished product.
Look like a single product. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So that was a lot of work putting this in. What I realized when I was having to plane down this balance rail, I didn't realize at the time Yamaha balance rails, they're skewed on an angle. The front pins are higher than the back, and they're actually raised.
Wow, I didn't know that.
About 5 degrees.
Wow.
So I went to a shop where they had a high-end planer, and there's their planing. He said this is angled, right? So that was a bit of a learning experience there.
Wow.
So part of this system, I got to know Fandor quite well, and when I was doing tech tour with Yamaha every year, we would travel all across Canada with the tech team, and we would when I had some time off, I would go visit. So I went to see Daryl Fandrick and learned about what he was doing, and just sort of, I thought, geez, there's all this stuff going on. There's so much to learn. So,
Wayne, we're about an inch deep into what I hope you'll bring. Would you come back?
oh yeah,
Would you come back and do another radio hour like next
yes.
week or
Oh yes.
sometime very? Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's what we need because we're 2 minutes away from, stopping this and to respect everybody's time.
Yeah.
And I want so much more of this.
Yeah. By the way, no pressure. We're not asking. He's not asking you in front of everybody to make it.
I am
make a commitment.
Actually.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I am because I love him and I know him and I know that this kind of teaching brings him great joy. And let me just tell you, brother, you're a beautiful teacher because you just tell the story. It's fantastic.
Well, Dave, thank you. I don't think so, but thank you. I'll just I'll share anything.
You're wrong, and I'm right.
This is amazing to have this opportunity to chat with so many people.
It's great to have you here, and yeah, we will we'll definitely reach out to you about coming back on the radio hour. And you already have confirmed that you're going to be part of this convention coming up in March, so that's exciting.
Yes.
We're looking forward
Beautiful.
to that.
Beautiful.
And I'll be speaking with you about optimizing that experience, so that'll be really cool. And I'll just, we have to do a little bit of a wrap up here. It's not that complicated. I put some links in the chat for people if you're interested. Make sure you bring feedback for the episode. There's a link to give your feedback for today. Also a link if you are not a member of the radio hour, you can sign up for that so that you get the direct links to the Zoom chats and you don't have to register every single time. And there's also a link there because we have our December convention lectures now available for purchase. There's a discount coupon for the time being on individual lectures, and you'll find that right on the website. But also if you want to buy them in packages of 3, 6, or if you want to get the entire 9-lecture convention, there's also discounts for that. So the link to get those convention lectures is in the chat as well. So hop over there and check that out. But in general, we want to thank Wayne for being here. Glad we got our technical difficulties figured out at the beginning. And it's definitely a situation where, as we get further and further in, it's like, oh wow, this goes deep. There's a lot more to learn from.
Yeah, a lot more. Yeah. Wayne is really one of the people that's out on the point of the sword in our craft and in our business, and he's good to listen to. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been another beautiful hour. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Master Ferguson. It's been incredible. And thank you.
Any parting words, Wayne, that you wanted to share?
There you go.
Oh, geez. Use an electric razor for shaving hammers. There you go.
All right. Awesome.
Beautiful.
Something valuable. Okay,
all right.
Cool. Well, we'll be in touch with you offline, Wayne. Yeah. See everybody very soon. And Happy New Year. Thanks for showing up. It's going to be a good year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time. Remember that you can catch us live online every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
That's right. Go to pianotechradio.com to register so you can interact live and ask questions of our guests.
See you next week.